call this meeting open of the Richland County Natural Resources Standing Committee on this date of June 1, 2026 at 9:30 a.m. Can we have the roll call, please?
Harrow.
Here.
Schoonover.
Here.
McKee.
Here.
Meyer.
Here.
Nolan.
Here.
Perry.
Here.
Goldsmith, Tagliafico. Here. You have a quorum, sir.
Darlene.
Is the verification of open meetings law compliant?
Meeting has been properly noticed, sir.
Before us, we have a agenda of 15 items. And I'm looking for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Supervisor McKee and Supervisor Carroll. It's been 2 months since we've had a meeting. I would ask you to look over the minutes from the previous meeting. If there's any additions to correct, please state your findings. And if not, I will approve the minutes as written.
We need to vote on the agenda.
Oh, sorry. All those in favor of the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Nays. Unanimous carried. Approval from the minutes of the previous meeting. Give you a few minutes to look at them over and see if there's any additions or corrections that are needed. If none, we'll look.
I move that we accept minutes as written.
I'll second that.
That was from Supervisor Meyer and second from Supervisor McKee. All in favor, say aye. Motion carried. Public comments. I do have a application here from Aaron Halverson.
I think that's part of the, when we do the public hearing on number 8. Am I right, Aaron? Yeah, for the short-term rental.
Yeah, that's like, yeah, maybe I feel.
Yep, so he's doing it for the short-term rental.
So we'll just do that at number 8 then. Okay, public comments. Is there anybody here that has any comments this morning? If not, we'll go to number 7, the public or zoning petitions. A, petition to rezone portion of parcel 010-0913-1000.
Can I explain a little bit about why we've got, instead of names, we have the parcel numbers in there? Just for the newer members. There's a rule, and Deb can help me with that, state law that we can't put in, if it's a judicial person can request that their information be redacted from any public notices. And because we were talking and with a former corp counsel that if we put the names of all these people in there and we have one that's not, then they know that that's a petition for a judicial person. So to keep it fair and everybody, that's why we just use parcel numbers to protect.
So this first petition is Town of Eagle. It's from William Waterman. There's a plat of survey included in there to split off 24.27 acres. So I believe he's selling it. So because it will be under separate ownership, it needs to be rezoned from ag forest to ag residential. That's all I have.
Any questions or comments?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion from Supervisor McKee and a second from Supervisor Meyer to approve. All those in favor say,
Discussion.
go ahead.
Is there a residence being planned?
I don't believe so. I think it was just gonna continue to be farmed.
Okay.
Yeah, proposed use on the application shows ag, so.
And that it's not connected to the guy who's buying it's not connected to his farm, unfortunately, so we can't leave it ag forestry.
No, you want me to do the proposal?
Mhm.
You want to do the redo the motion?
I don't think you have to.
Okay,
Yeah.
It's just bring it on the floor.
Motion first, and then discussion.
Then we vote.
any other questions? If not, we have a motion for a vote. Do we have,
Motion's been made
okay,
and seconded. Discussion.
all those in favor of passing the petition, say aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion is carried. 7B, petition to rezone a portion of the parcel 032-1513-1000.
This one is Willow Township, currently owned by Elizabeth Fuller. There is a certified survey for this one. It's 2.007 acres. So they're splitting off from the farm to rezone to residential for a house for Elizabeth's granddaughter.
Motion for discussion. Motion by Supervisor McKee and Supervisor Perry. Any questions or comments? If none, all those in favor of passing petition say aye. Nay. Motion is carried. Seven C, petition to rezone a portion of the parcel 032-3241-2000.
This petition is from James and Jane Powell. It's similar to the last one. They're splitting off part of the farm to sell to their daughter to potentially build a new home on. There is a certified survey for this one as well. It's 5.46 acres. So we'd be rezoning to ag residential.
Motion for this, Supervisor Perry. Is there a second? Supervisor Nolan. All those in favor say aye. Any discussion on this?
You'll get there.
All those in favor of passing this?
Great. Very good.
7D, petition to rezone a portion of the parcel 010-3022-0000.
So this is Larry and Ramona Hatch. They are splitting some off to sell to their son Justin. Proposed use shows forest and recreational, so I don't believe there are plans to build right away. But it would go to separate ownership, 22.07 acres on a plat of survey, from ag forestry to ag residential. And this one shows the easement, coming from Hatch Road back up into the parcel, so there is legal access to it as well.
Motion to discuss.
I'll make a motion.
Supervisor McKee, is there a second? Supervisor Walsmith. Any discussion or questions? If not, all in favor say aye. Nay. Motion is carried. 7E, petition to rezone parcel 002-1532-2000.
This one is Township of Aiken, Matt and Mallory Hatfield. This is an existing illegal non-conforming parcel. It's one of those kind of cleanup parcels where It was marked illegal non-conforming and basically once they come in for a permit or to change something on the property, we rezone it at that time. So, it should have been done before, don't know why it wasn't, but we want to get it into ag residential as it's 26 acres. There's already a home there. They're just looking to finish the basement in the home, not add any new buildings at this time.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Supervisor Perry, is there a second? Supervisor McKee. All those in favor? Discussion, go ahead.
So you have to have a permit to refinish the basement?
We don't require that. Noel talked to them and I'm not exactly sure where everything came up.
I think they decided at the time, there's no well, you know,
That's it.
Yeah, and
that Hatfield one. You had to do the rezoning when they came in for something.
Oh,
so we don't require a permit for finishing a basement.
I
But
just wondered what triggered the rezone. I mean, it's good to get it straightened out, but I didn't know why they did it.
The contractor, I'm also with the town of Aiken, the contractor came in and discussed it, and they found out during his research on the property that it was illegal property. They just want to come into compliance with it, so.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Ware.
So we vote?
Didn't vote yet.
You didn't vote yet? Okay. All those in favor of passing this, zoning, say aye. Aye. Nays? It's been passed. 7F, petition to rezone partial 010-3043-2000 and portion of a parcel 10-3043-1000.
so, this is for Janet Wiedenfeld, town of Eagle. There's an existing small parcel with a home on it. I believe the plan was to, replace or add an outbuilding there. And, I think this was another one that was not zoned how it should have been. It still shows just as ag forest. She's purchasing additional land so that she can, rezone to ag residential and allow multiple outbuildings. The residential only district with the smaller parcel would only allow her to have one outbuilding other than the house.
Motion on for comments or questions?
Move to approve.
Supervisor Carroll, Supervisor McKee. Any questions or comments?
Janet's here if you wanna.
None?
Seems pretty straightforward.
Okay. All those in favor of passing this petition, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Passed. 7G, petition for an easement and variance on partial 014-1521-0000.
This one is a little bit different, and this is one of the things that we want to address in our ordinance update when we visit the land division ordinance. It'll be down the road later this year, or early next year. Our land division ordinance states that any variance to that must go to the Natural Resources Committee. We think it's probably more suited for the Board of Adjustments because they deal with variances of other kinds on the regular, but our ordinance says that it comes to this committee, so. This is a variance to the easement width. So we require 66 feet for an easement. And there's a portion of this easement that is only 40 feet wide. There's limited space there between the property line and existing, metal building. There's like a feedlot there, some things kind of right on the edge there, so they're, narrowing that easement where those existing buildings are.
Motion for
Move to approve.
second. Motion by Supervisor Carroll, seconded by Supervisor McKee. All those in favor, discussion.
I think it's the first variance for driveway we've done, isn't it? If you could help us understand why the the standard is 66 feet. If there's what issues might be there by narrowing it up.
I think it has to do with, that's what road width's supposed to be, am I correct?
Yes,
Deb?
yes. In order to be a legal driveway, it has to be a minimum of 66 foot wide for the easement at the road. So that's what our ordinance says, is the easements have to be 66 feet wide. So they don't actually have to encumber the entire 66 feet, but they're supposed to be that wide at the road. So we just kept with that. So in this case, I don't think it would be a problem. We want to make sure that there's room for a road wide enough for emergency vehicles, fire trucks, that type of thing. If there's any structures that, have to be serviced in case of an emergency. So as long as the stretch that you're going to change to narrow the width still has a reasonable amount of room for those vehicles to be able to go through, it shouldn't be a problem.
So it's kind of a judgment call that.
Yes.
Okay,
Exactly.
So,
got it.
so I have another question. With that narrowing that happens, let's say the building someday disappears, or that the obstruction is not there. Can someone come back and ask to have the easement widened again at that point, so it's with the rest of the road?
They
Or,
could, but there really isn't any need because your road is not gonna be that wide. It just needs to be that wide at the highway for vision and for, to have be able to turn into the driveway and those sort of things. So it's just the standard that we accepted to be the same as what the actual easement when it touches the road is.
oh,
So-
okay,
So your road is not gonna be 66 feet wide, so there really isn't that. And if there's no intersection, you don't really need extra width to be able to see.
okay. All right, well, I just was wondering, because I know standards change over time. Just was
Yes.
curious about that, so.
Any other questions or comments?
I think even in the city, streets are 66 feet wide, but they're nowhere near that wide. Curb to curb, they're like.
All those in favor of passing this? Say aye.
I,
Opposed? Unanimous, carried. On to 7H, petition for a conditional use permit on parcel 030-2921-1000.
She has actually asked to put these ones off, and get all of her plans in order and come back and repetition at the end of the summer. So this one is tabled for now.
Do we put that under future agenda items then, or just wait till they?
Yeah, she'll have to get some more information to us before we can put it back on the agenda.
Okay,
If you guys don't have to stay if you don't want to, the ones that are here for petitions, you can go and
Back to the barn.
back to the barn.
Thank you.
exciting.
Those things that are on the board.
Huh? Do I have to take action on this then?
What?
To table it.
Um,
Table.
Okay, I move to table it.
Oh, I'll second.
Supervisor Meyer and Supervisor Carroll move to table this for later. All in favor, say aye. Number 8, public hearing, updates to the county short-term rental ordinance. And we have a public comment form from Aaron Halverson. Like to talk to us?
Yeah, you can come up here.
So I haven't, I guess, been following, why this is back again, I guess?
I think there were some clarifications that working with the new corp council wanted us to have clarified, and they did not. It was not posted in our code of ordinances online. They
So
didn't,
now
they
it
were,
got posted.
yeah, so we thought it was cleaner, we just go this way.
So, I guess it's a little background for people that, maybe weren't involved. So about maybe a year and a half ago, and we kind of have gone, eventually a proposal was passed and then a bunch of short-term rental owners reviewed didn't pass it, I guess, kind of proposed it. A bunch of short-term rental owners reviewed the proposal and came up with some, what we thought were kind of reasonable changes to the original ordinance. And worked with Steve and sent Steve like a list and kind of explained why we wanted to change each. And then it came back to this board and you guys approved everything except for maybe like one of them, which we were fine with. And I think it went to the executive committee meeting and I think the executive committee or financial meeting,
Yeah.
whatever, that passed there. And then, so I thought it was done. I thought,
Yeah,
but then anyway, so it came back and basically they took out almost everything that we proposed. And I think a lot of those were not even like legal things. You know, they were just like, how strict are we? And like, 30 days versus 90 days. Put back almost everything that we had, or from what originally was, what we proposed, other than like some language in the back, which was bad about penalties. Like they actually used that one that I had written, which I thought was better. So I was shocked. I was like, I feel like these aren't like legal things. Like the attorney looked at it and it's like, well, this opens you up to liability risks and things like that. It's like, no, these are just like, how lenient, how strict are you gonna be on these short-term rentals? So he just put them back. So I don't know if you want to get into the details of it. He also has like some errors, like some of the changes are also just erroneous. Like for example, I have 2 short-term rentals and I don't think this ordinance even applies to me after it's changed. And his definition of what a short-term rental is he changed it from the original version, which I was fine with. I didn't change that in the first place, but then he changed it to, if you want to read what it says for a short-term rental, the rental of a tourist rooming house. So the definition of a short-term rental is the rental of a tourist rooming house for a period of 6 or more days, but less than 30 days. But almost all of my rentals are 2 to 5 days. So I don't know. And for some years, I don't ever have one that's more than 5 days. So it doesn't even apply to me. This ordinance doesn't even apply for most short-term rentals.
Okay.
He also pulled out in tourist rooming house, the definition of tourist rooming house, all lodging places and tourist cabins and cottages other than hotels and motels, et cetera, et cetera. And what a hotel or motel needs to be defined. It's because the state of Wisconsin requires it too, because if it's 5 or more units, the state of Wisconsin doesn't require the process that you have to go through for a short-term rental because it's a hotel or motel. So this is trying to say that hotels and motels are not related to this ordinance, but then he doesn't define what a hotel or motel is. So I had added it before to be like, it needs to be defined because, like, for example, one of the larger short-term rental places in town, is it a short-term rental or not, is like, or in the area, I should say, is Anaway Place. And they have, obviously they have, now they probably have like 8 or 9 cabins or something like that. The state of Wisconsin would define them as actually a hotel or motel because they have more than 5 units and therefore they're not subject to this ordinance. So I thought it important before to be like, you need to define what a hotel or motel is. Like that's like basic attorney, definitions are important. And he pulls it out. And then in addition to many things that, we thought were reasonable and, and they're just gone, even though it's like, this isn't even a lawyer thing. You guys approved it. What right does this guy have to just decide to just put it all back again? So that's why I'm here. And I'm happy to go through each individual one and you guys can decide whether or not you want to go back to what it was or like what he put originally. But I don't know how the process can be what it is, where he just has the right to just go put back things that you guys had already approved.
Supervisor Perry.
Which corporation council changed the present one or the
Present one.
previous?
Present one.
The new one.
Which is surprising because I thought that he must have loved his original language and put it back, but it's like, it's a different.
No, we had Wendell before and now we have.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, I'm surprised he went back to the original language written, which I thought he must have been like, I'm going back to my original language. It was actually a whole other attorney put it back, but I mean, these are things like, hours or like how much time do you have? Like 30 days or 90 days to do something? Like we put it to 90 because we felt like it was more reasonable. We put it back to 30. It's like, is that really a legal thing that, you guys approved the days? So it's like.
Think it was more to align with DACAP's, the state's short-term rental rules.
Yeah, which he pulled out the definition of hotels and motels, which is exactly from their own law.
Supervisor Waltman.
Can I make a suggestion that we find somebody who deals with this and have, rather than a governmental corporate council looking at this kind of a definition and align it with what other counties are doing in the state, so that, like, I'm assuming you want something that's more like for an Airbnb or.
Yeah, I mean,
That
this is,
kind
to
of-
be honest, this is not
Which,
bad.
well, no, but I understand.
I mean, I
that-
hate to just blow the whole thing up, because it was like, it was close to being like acceptable, I think, forever.
Yeah.
Right, and it should, and I totally get it, because actually I work in that environment all the time. And that doesn't make sense for what a short-term rental is. I feel your pain on that one.
Thank
Yep.
Supervisor Carroll.
I move that we table this and get together with corp council and their red line and we take yet another month to get it right.
Yep. And then you can stop
Do
it.
you want me to send you again, like, my proposed changes, so you can
Yes.
kind of review them?
Sorry, but yes.
Because they are different now, because he took some of them, but not most.
Supervisor McKee.
I thank you.
Was this ordinance approved by the county board?
Yeah, we'd have to take it back for amendments. But it was never
It
posted.
seems,
Not with.
Oh, so wait, the original one was approved.
Yeah.
It was, but then, it was never posted on the, it was not put in the Muni code or whatever they call it.
Right.
but
And
it has
then,
been approved.
Not this wording.
not this wording.
No.
Yeah, not this one, which we don't
Previous.
like,
Yeah.
this one, which everyone agreed with.
Why are we going back and changing it?
Right.
Just
Well, there was some-
because we had a change of earnings.
There were concerns with the wording being licensing. There was a training session that I attended, and I don't remember who led it. Talking about cautioning, basically making sure that you have the wording right so that you have the legal standing to go back if you have any issues, basically so that it'll stand up.
But was it by our previous attorney? Was it reviewed before we approved it?
When that
I think
concern
so.
came up, I sent it to him and asked him to review it with those concerns in mind, and I never heard back from him. So when we got the new attorney, we sent it to the new attorney, and that's what he
I
stated.
think it's strange that we should be changing stuff in midstream after it's been approved.
Oh,
Supervisor Frank.
Thank you. So I've been in the thick of some of this. And I actually got the group of Airbnb people together, gathered them together in, I don't know, what was 25? Maybe January, February of 25. We all got together, we all had a meeting, we talked about this, we looked at it, made the recommendation changes. And there's some of the changes in here that I think are concerning. And I think it's a good idea to bring it back. In my book, I kind of like to see it start over a little bit. Looking at the ordinance that was passed by the county board, some of the changes that we asked for aren't in that. I will fault myself for voting for it. In looking it over, there were some changes that I looked at I went back to the minutes just the other day and went, that's not what we had talked about originally. We also talked about the conditional use permit, that an Airbnb has to have a conditional use permit, which is $500. Right, so now they're getting charged the $500 for that, plus they're getting charged the state fee, which we have to have because we have to be licensed, we have to be inspected. Which is it? Is it the $25 to have an Airbnb, or is it $500 to have a conditional use permit?
That was one of the reasons we're in the zoning ordinance, we were taking, if you have the, yeah, if you go through this, you don't have to do the.
Right, and I
I
didn't
don't think
see
that's in
that,
the law anymore.
I didn't see that written anywhere. I don't see that anywhere.
Oh,
There's no-
we haven't revised the zoning ordinance.
So I think there's a lot of pieces here that aren't fitting and working together. So I appreciate the idea of, can we refresh?
Which, by the way, I put a motion, a motion to table.
Thank you.
We haven't had a second. or
I
any-
seconded it.
Okay.
So if we could do that, I would greatly appreciate it. We can start reviewing.
Well, with the confusion that we have here today, I definitely think we should table this. And, go back to square one and start over.
Have discussion, a little more discussion. So you're willing to offer to do the red line with.
Right.
Kind of
I'll send it to
garbled
the kind of group, see if they agree with everything first,
Right,
and then
right.
I'll get it to you. But I mean, I'm just planning on putting things back and then changing like the definition of short-term rental, which, that's probably it, but, and then, yeah, I'll see if Bob agrees. But what it won't have, because I don't know how to incorporate it, to be honest, is like to simultaneously get rid of the conditional use permits.
Yeah, and we're gonna kind of, got another subject. And this, I have to update, we have to update our environmental preservation county plan. Then after we do that, we have to update our zoning ordinance. So this is due at the end of the year, and then next year that's what we'll talk about, this environmental preservation ordinance. We're gonna have to kind of put that on hold too until we get,
Yeah, I think we always envisioned they would kind of, two ordinance changes would go at the same time, so it'd be like, here's
Yeah.
the new one, we're removing the old one, here's the law for each, but if you can't do it in.
well, that's the case too. We don't want to update our zoning ordinance and then next year update our zoning ordinance again.
Right.
So,
How long ago did the attorney council change the wording after it was voted in? And was there another meeting of the board after that, after he changed it for it to be voted in?
we didn't, I don't think it was in another meeting. I think it was.
I don't know when it was originally approved, but it was updated just in February this year.
After having the attorney review it.
And it wasn't voted on, the change?
We didn't bring it
Not
back here.
voted on
This is
by
the first time it's come back.
To the committee. That's why we want to do a public hearing first.
Yeah, so no one voted to change anything, I mean, he just
No.
decided to just go and do it, yeah.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair, Randy. We are currently in the public hearing. It is not agenda for action.
Yeah, it
We
have
have to take action on item 10 where.
Yep.
So,
So finish the public hearing first.
Yeah,
yes, correct.
I think there was a question over here from.
Yes, Mr. Frank.
I just want to make a statement to the board is what concerns me is I sat through another county board meeting and the attorney, your new attorney, was apologizing for all the mistakes he had made. While another attorney was sitting back there, making sure he didn't make a mistake. And I mean, I think as a board, you guys have to really figure out your corporate counsel. Because there was problems before and now you got problems now. So I'm just saying, as a resident, I would be a little concerned about the advice you're getting. So, I mean, it's, because who's paying for it? Who's paying for all the mistakes? I mean, is it us as residents or is it the county paying, or is he giving you credit on a bill? I mean, I'm just saying, this is the second meeting now I've sat in. I've sat in many before with the first attorney. Now I'm just getting started and I'd be a little concerned. That's the only thing I was gonna say.
Mr. Frank.
If I could, thank you. So in doing the numbers, when we got the group together about a little over a year ago, we came up with over 10,000 visitors that the Airbnbs and their short-term rentals are bringing into the county. That's 10,000 people that are coming here, visiting, taking a look, buying things, some of them staying. I've had a number of people that have stayed at mine that go, we love it here, and now they're working at the hospital, working at these facilities. So to me, it's a very important piece economically. I think it's an important piece to support the business. It's small little businesses that are incorporated into one big project. I think that's what we really need to work on supporting. So, thank you.
Thank you. So are we ready to move on? Okay, I guess we will close the public hearing at this time and go on to number 9, reports, zoning administrator report and department activities.
So it's spring, summertime now. We've been doing a lot of septics. We're at 30 sanitary permits for the year. Honestly, I think we've been out on between 2 and 4 either septic or soil tests every week for the last month now. So we're getting out in the field quite a bit. We're up to 64 land use permits. Honestly, there's a lot of building going on right now, a lot of new houses, a lot of new septics, that kind of stuff. As evidenced by our splits, you know, rezoning for people to build houses. So there's a lot of that activity going on right now. Otherwise, we've been trying to understand our ordinance and how to implement it in different cases. We've had a lot of unique, I guess, complex situations come up where, you know, there's a parcel that should have been rezoned. Now they've added land to it and they want to build too close to a property line. There's just complex issues, I guess, that we've been trying to work through. So we've been pretty busy down there.
And I don't know if you saw the notification about the dispatch put out, or sheriff department put out about addresses, and some addresses may be changed. And Noel's been a big part of this. When doing upgrading to the NG 911, there's some addresses that don't fit. There's address ranges and they're not fitting in the address ranges. And so dispatch has a hard time sending people out there. So Noel's been working with the dispatch to figure out what those addresses should be. Working with the incorporated villages, and the big one, and Trisha's involved with this one, we're gonna have to do, there's some discrepancies within the city limits, and we can't tell the city what to do, but just to make, she's trying to set up a meeting between the city and the county to see what can be done with the addresses in those parts, because there's some, if they're not in the right spot, then it's hard to dispatch somebody, especially an ambulance or a sheriff or a police department, to the right address if it doesn't follow the orderly. So that may, it's gonna be a slow process, but I know Noel's done quite a bit outside the city limits, and I don't know, maybe Trisha, any comment on that? But basically explains it.
Yeah.
Okay. I've been working on finishing uploading all the old soil tests for septic systems, ones that meet today's standards, into our online or printing program. So I've got like 3 years left to go. It goes back into like 1992, I think, is the first one where they actually used, instead of the perk test, where they poured water in the hole and counted time how long it went down, to actual going and looking at the soil profile for different restricting factors. So I've got those, I'm close to having them all done. It's easier to look up, we look up by name and not necessarily the old way. So that's what I've got.
Move on to violations report.
Honestly, we've been really busy with all the new stuff and these other things that we haven't really addressed much on violations. The one, just on the north edge of town going out Highway 80, there's a parcel there that's all in the floodway that has had fill sitting on it for some time. That's for sale now, and he has been working on removing the fill, so we're making some progress there. But honestly, I haven't got back to other violations.
Part C, county conservationist report and department activities.
For especially Mr. Meyer, who's new, and I'm the department head for land conservation and zoning. My name's Kathy Cooper. Jen is our zoning and sanitary person, Jen Fry. Noelle is what's called the office system tech. She does both zoning and land conservation. Derek Warner is here. He's our conservation technician for land conservation. So he goes out, excuse me, and he'll explain what he does. And then Corey Rogers is our other conservation technician. She does more of the planning agronomic things. So she works with producers and other landowners on management type things where he's more the technical practice. She does more of the management thing. So I'll let Derek talk a little bit about what he does or what he's doing.
Yeah, so I tend to go out to farmers or farmland or just landowners in general, and usually they come to us with a resource concern. Usually it's erosion, whether it's a stream bank or fields eroding like that. I go out, give them any input as to how they can potentially fix it. Then also I help them, if we're able to, help them with cost sharing to make it more affordable for farmers and landowners to be able to implement conservation practices onto the landscape. I know right now we're doing the NR 151 stuff, which Corey Rogers and I are both going out and doing. We had a bunch of sites that were picked randomly, and we're going out just to see if they're in compliance with that. And it's just a survey, so nothing comes of it other than if the county has any concerns, and we can talk with them and work with them on implementing practices to fix the problem, get them into compliance. That way, protect their waters and land. So. Other than that, yeah, I do also every year I go out and look at our non-metallic mines, make sure those are in compliance, or if there's any mines that are going to be reclaimed this year or next year or any year, I go through the reclamation plans with them, make sure they reclaim it up to the plan, and help them reclaim it that way as well. So.
Yeah, a little bit about that. It's called the NR 151 analysis. NR 151 is a state DNR rule that talks about standards for cropland and livestock areas that need to be met to, to prevent runoff and erosion. And so the state decided DNR wanted to know what the state was, what compliance was within the state. So they randomly picked sites within each county. We have 4 that are cropland sites and 8 that are livestock sites. So they're going out and they have a criteria to go through and evaluate, and they talk with the landowners. They had one, they went out to a livestock one that the guy he had a little bit of an issue, and he's thinking about, oh yeah, I'd like to do something. So one of the other things they do when they go out to do the analysis, they figure out roughly what the cost is going to be to bring it up to compliance, and then those numbers are put in, and then it'll help the DNR request enough money from the state to maybe take care of some of these issues and offer cost sharing or help to these landowners. So, so that's on that part of it.
Yeah, and so if they have something that they want to work with us on, I go out and survey or to help them design a plan and put together a plan to help them implement that practice. So that's kind of my job, the technical aspect of it is putting a plan together, something that's up to NRCS standards, because those are the standards that we go off of. And then, like she was saying, we have our normal funds that we get from DACAP. There's also a couple other ways we can go about getting funds. They have a reserve funds program to where you can apply for it, and they kind of go off of how they feel the resource concern, applies compared to other resource concerns across the state. So.
And one of the things Derek and Corey they're working with a livestock owner right now who's getting a notice of discharge from the state DNR for discharging manure from a feedlot. And so Derek and Corey have been working with him to try to, and with somebody from Department of Natural Resources and an engineer from Department of Ag Trade Consumer Protection to get some practices out there to reduce that runoff. Couple of things. One thing that Corey's working on currently is she's working with a group of people to do a producer-led group. It's a group that it's called the Richland County Legacy Alliance is what they've determined. And there's a meeting on the 10th at 6 p.m. in this room, and they're going to be talking about what they want to do. If they want to apply for a grant, they can get a grant, and it's all led by a group of producers they'll want to do some innovative things, possibly. Corey and I met with Tricia to discuss, they have to have a fiscal agent, and it has to be somebody, so somebody like a county or 501(c)(3), so we're working through some of those things. The grant opens up sometime in July, so we have a little bit of time, but we've been talking with other counties about what we need to do and when it needs to be done, what time, what counts as their match, all that sort of thing. So it's in a process, and they may or may not apply for a grant this year. They don't know, but that's discussion is to getting a group of producers together that want to do some things conservation wise. She's also, today was the day that nutrient management plans are due to her for those, especially those in farmland preservation. And so then she'll be going through and maybe may come a point that they may be coming back here at some point to be issued and for public hearing to see if would be issued a notice of non-compliance for farmland preservation. And all that means is that they don't meet all the criteria and they would be eligible for the tax credit at the state level. We did a well testing program through, it's Driftless Area Water Study, which is Richland, Crawford, and Vernon. It was done in late March. The results are back now. There's going to be an open meeting on the June 25th at the community center at 5:30. People from the Stevens Point lab will be there to discuss along with others. They'll be talking about results and what we found and what they found and some things, anything that's concerning, things that could be done. And also there'll be some information there for the public to look at, and the health department's going to have a display there too about their programs for well testing. We're hoping at the July county board meeting that the gal from Stevens Point will be able to, I'll be in touch with Carrie Severson about that, doing a presentation for the county board as a whole at the July county board meeting to discuss the results and let you know what's going on. And then Randy, Derek, and I went to the Southern Area meeting in Portage. There was lots of things that were discussed, things that are coming up, trying to work with DNR on some of these permitting issues, what other counties are doing. The big thing for you as on June 30th, there will be the Southern area and Southern and Southeastern area will be an event in Madison on Fen Oak Drive. They'll be talking about what your duties are as we call the Natural Resources Committee, but the land conservation duties that you guys possess by state regulation, state statutes. And so if you're interested, I can get you the link to sign up for the meeting. It's free. It goes from 10 to noon. It's on Fen Oak Drive. It's at the Dane County offices. Also at that time, they'll be giving out the new Land Conservation Committee handbooks. They're supposed to do an electronic one, which when I get that, I'll post it in the admin file, so you guys have that. It lists what your duties are for the land conservation part of it. They start out as land conservation committees, LCCs, and different counties have changed different names by like ours where we combined different groups. It'll tell what your duties are and things that are there. The last thing, and I put the link in this flyer in the admin file. It's talking about the Southern Area Tour. I'll pass this around. It's a tour that happens once a year, different counties. This year it'll be in Dane County. They look at different innovative things, and if you're interested in going, it's $30 a person. They go on take a coach bus tour around to different sites within the county. This year, Dane County's hosting it. We host it in 2028. So you guys got some interesting things that we want to do. We want to start thinking about next year. let our department know if there's some places you'd like to be and us to show other counties. Right, that's all I've got.
That's a lot of information. If we have any questions, we touch it. Supervisor Carroll.
Kathy, could you just go ahead and send us all that link to the LCC thing? Just go ahead and send an email to us.
Okay, I'll probably have to send it, do I have to send it separately, Trish?
You
Each
can
one?
send it to all of them, they just can't respond.
Okay,
Make
okay,
them
that was my question.
respond.
And also, I wondered if
Yes, nothing.
And I'll also attach this flyer to that same one.
also, I was wondering if, when Eric's done with this random sampling, if we just have a report back here, see how things look.
Yep, that's what our plan is. We have to have it done by sometime in July, so it'll probably be one of the August meetings.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Is
Supervisor,
the $30 just that fee covered by the county's tour? Or is that out of pocket?
Because since it's gone, it used to come to our budget, but it doesn't come to our budget anymore, it goes to the county board budget, so I don't know what's.
it's turned.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Supervisor Wolf.
Andy, I just was wondering, I'm trying to get on board with what's going on. Is there, I don't like to call it an orientation or some time when I can just come and see what you guys do?
Give us a call, so make sure we're in the office.
I'm genuinely curious.
That's fine. We don't.
I really think it's a neat department, and that's why I wanted to be part of all this.
Yeah, so, yeah, if any of you guys, I know Steve has come in before, Randy has come in, just call ahead of time because we're in and out, especially this time of year. Just give us a call and then we'll schedule a time to meet.
I'd like to see what's going on, Great, thank you.
Okay, moving on to
Extension.
the extension.
Yep.
Okay, number 10, this
90.
90.
90, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
UW extension.
UW extension report in department activities.
I will welcome everybody. My name is Adam Haiti. I'm the area extension director for the extension here in Richland County. We're kind of a unique department to the county, as we're kind of a shared department between the state and the county. And what I've handed around is I decided to go super low tech today. Instead of putting my presentation up on the screen and stuff, I just handed you guys a packet that's got the slides on it. You can follow along if you want, or you don't have to. I will make sure that I get a colored version over to Miranda so that she can post it in there for later, so you guys can see it in a little clearer form. I understand that the black and white's not always the easiest to read for us. But what I hope to cover today, just a little background on extension as a whole from the statewide perspective, and then narrow it down into what it looks like within our county programming here locally. So the first one there, just about us. What are we? So extension is a division within UW-Madison, and we really provide outreach education to members of the state. So we're located in all the counties. And we have a mission that embodies the Wisconsin idea by partnering and developing to connect research that's happening at the university and bringing educational resources of the university to the residents and communities where they live, work, and play. So we're really focused on lots of different areas. How do we take that research that the university is doing and make it applicable to people in their everyday lives? Extension's been around for a long time. We're well over 100 years old. You can kind of see there's a picture in there. One of the slides says Extension's mission then and now. The first one there is the kid sitting on a pile of corn.
Extension kind of started out of this corn club idea. We had some university research on how to enhance corn yields, and people didn't want to change their practices, so we started university corn clubs. The thought was we could get parents to give their kids an acre of corn to raise corn with the university ways of doing things in these corn clubs, that the adults would finally learn that there's different ways to do things. And lo and behold, the kids were way out producing their parents. And so the educational program started from there, and we started adopting new practices. So one of the most visible programs of ours kind of started out of this, and imagine those corn clubs turned into what we call today National 4-H program. So that was really kind of where 4-H started in its roots and extension. And over the years, we've had different opportunities to get some federal funding and connections to land grants and partnerships with counties, and how we advance those educational opportunities. While it started off as an ag program, we've definitely morphed into many other areas. We have health and well-being and financial programs. We'll talk about those later, but the mission is still the same. How can we enhance people's everyday lives? So for the last 100-some years, extension is really about providing education that helps transform communities. We have a statewide network that's pretty deep. In addition to the every county having educators of some form, we also have a network of statewide specialists and resources that we can tap into as educators, that you guys can tap into as citizens, and you guys can tap into as local government officials. So those are all sources that are provided through pretty much at no cost or low fees to everyone. So our work actually happens in, like I said, all but I think there's one county that has chosen not to participate in having extension services. But that's roughly about 225 educators around the state, working in 19 different geographic areas. And within those individual local offices, we really try to take that statewide programming and focus and adapt it to local needs. So programmatically, we break out into two large areas on the statewide level. First area is agriculture, natural resources, and community development. So those are the three kind of program areas that fall into that institute. And then the other one is youth, family, and health services. So what does that mean for us here in Richland County? You know, it really means that we have some resources from the state that we can bring down. And so, again, as I said, we're kind of uniquely structured. And the way that's structured is we have a partnership with the county. So I myself am a state employee. I don't actually have any funding from the county on my position. The local educators within the office, however, are state employees, but we have a contractual relationship with the county from a just pure budgetary standpoint. So what the contract states that the county will reimburse the university a flat rate for each FTE of educator they have. So for our educators, one full-time educator, approximately $50,000 contribution from the county, and then they in turn receive the educator in those various programs, and we'll talk about that in a second. In addition to that, the county then provides support staff, provides office space, the general office, budgeting, some travel funds, and some different things so that we can do our work. They also supply the IT component. So when you really start thinking about where the balance of wage benefits and those types of things and the support that we get, it ends up being almost a 50-50 partner relationship on financial contributions. So when you get to the budget process and stuff for our office, I believe last time I checked, we are about 87% for the contract and support staff. So we're pretty heavy people-related department. So with that, what does the staff actually look like in Richland County? So the first one is, again, I mentioned probably the most visible program that we have is our 4-H program. And Carly Craddock is our 4-H educator. She's 100% FTE. So they do lots of different 4-H programming. In addition to 4-H programming, though, there's also some youth programming that happens. One of the things that we're doing right now, and Carlene's actually today doing training, we have an AmeriCorps summer worker in an office. One of the things they're gonna do is expand youth programming in various libraries and across Richland County. So that's one area that we're looking at. So how do we expand youth programming, not only just 4-H programming? So that's something they're working on. We have a human development and relationships educator. That is an 80% position. That's Sarah Kubiak, and her focus is family financial programming. The big event that highlights her program every year is the Get Real event. I don't know how many of you have heard or partaken in that, but we roughly have a couple hundred high school students from around the area come to a reality day. They get assigned a job, a wage, randomly selected if you have kids, no kids, if you're divorced, married. The first thing they do is they get their paycheck, and then they get to pay Uncle Sam for the first time. For many of them kids having to do that. Then you go through and you got a daily living expenses and make choices and go through the whole month of expenses that way. But beyond that, Sarah's been doing some unique things. She's been really partnering with our jail right now and doing some financial education for people coming to the jail, and it's been a really great partnership there. So those two educators actually have a permanent office here. Our office is actually in the community services building. We also have 2 regional educators. So the first is a regional crops educator and a regional who's Anastasia Kurt. And Anastasia actually works pretty good with Corey in the land conservation department. Again, with the watershed group, that's been a unique one. Anastasia's core focus though is really in forage management. She also does some things with water quality. So she covers Juneau, Sauk, and Richland counties at her home location is in Sauk County. And then we have Beth McElwain, who's a regional livestock educator. So Beth serves La Crosse, Vernon, Richland, Crawford counties. Her main office is in Vernon County. But her primary focus has been with beef production and beef management, especially in the areas of direct marketing and pasture management. I was just telling Trish this morning in one of our check-in that one of the programs she's planning for, I believe, August, is she's working with Schmidt's Dairy Farm, and they're going to offer an artificial insemination class. I used to be able to say AI back in the day when I was in ag, but now AI has changed meaning, so I have to say the full words. So it's really kind of neat that I think they're almost full on that class, but it's only been posted for a week, so it's a really cool opportunity. Start developing some ag relationships, teach some skills here locally. And then our support staff, Jenny Silver, she is, the one to meet you at the desk. She helps with behind, helps build our websites, do things. Jenny is a full county employee. So she's a little bit different than the other employees or the educators in the office. So she is fully funded and supported by the county. And then I'm in the area, in the office, and I cover 5 counties. So I cover Vernon, Crawford, Richland, Sauk, and Monroe counties. So I kind of help support all the educators, and then I also fill in the department that will in all 5 of those meetings. So I talked a little bit about our partnership already, so I won't go into that, but on the backside of it, we have the formal contract, and then we also have a document from Extension, and I can bring it to anybody that's interested. We call it the partner agreement. It kind of outlines where the partnership between the county and Extension works, who's got roles, for example, like when we go through hiring, right? Because it's a state employee, but we still want to have county input on how do we develop those ideas, focuses, and things like that. So a lot of those things are outlined, and it's been a pretty good relationship both ways. There's one slide in here. I know it's just as Extension's commitment on the bottom of it, and it's like got different bubbles in it. But that really is highlighting, and I'm not going to go into it. There's a lot of word there, but the first bubble has local needs and trends, local partners, statewide trends and needs, what we're working on the statewide activities. We take all those bubbles, we take the state needs, local needs, and then we try to match educators. with those needs. So the next one is, we call the Badger County Thrive. You know, we've been using this for multiple counties. But then it talks about the ag educators, 4-H educators, just those positions that we walked through. How do they match for the county? And then how do we move forward and develop programming, which is our next slide. This is what's really cool about how extension works. I always tell people, grateful to be an extension because I don't have to worry about regulation. We just have to worry about teaching and education. So we kind of follow this continuum of a life cycle. So we try to understand what's actually happening in communities. We start developing some priorities. What can we actually handle? What do we have capacity for? And then we design and deliver educational programming around those different ideas and topics. And then we ask ourselves, did that actually work? If it worked, we keep doing it. If it didn't, how do we transform it and make sure that it does? And then we just continue that cycle over and over again. But for that cycle to work, we do have to have some mutual success between the counties and ourselves, right? We don't want it to be, this is the state doing it, or this is the county doing it all together, right? This really does need to be a partnership. So you guys, as our county oversight committee, you know, we'll come to you. When I generally, for the educator report, I will put in a short report that I don't read, that'll be in your packets generally month to month, and then I usually have one educator talk about either one or two of their programs and some of the things they have coming up. So then that's, at that point, this is where you guys can provide feedback, ask questions of what they're doing. Say, hey, I'm hearing this out in the community that I think it might really relate to the programs you are doing. You ever thought about this? And then beyond that, help us promote our programs as well. So that's kind of the role and function of how I see this committee work. You know, we got the budgetary and the checkbox stuff that we have to for the committee, but I really see the way the oversight committee and our extension educators, as we interact, it's a help promote what we're doing. And also for you guys to give us feedback on where there might be gaps, where we're missing some programming. So it's a back and forth relationship in that aspect. With that, I have just extensions, strategic goals. I'm not going to go over those. Those are just there for you guys' benefit. And with that, do you have any questions on what the quick overview of extension is?
Any questions? Anybody?
Interested in the 4-H?
Yeah.
How active our 4-H kids are in this county?
So our 4-H programs, we're still pretty active. I mean, obviously over the years, our youth population in general is steadily declining a little bit. I think you see that in our school enrollment, but we've been steady with our 4-H members, just a little over 200 members and about 40, 50 volunteers on the adult side. We have kids in 4-H programming. What's really interesting is there's been a shift in 4-H in general, and especially in this county. Like, we still have our core ag, livestock type programs, but there's a lot of programming happening outside there. Foods is a huge program for us. Photography is another program that's generally growing. We now are doing youth. We have a youth or junior leaders group, sorry, and they're starting to do some programming themselves within libraries and the schools. So it's still pretty active, and I think it's you know, for the small communities, I think we're staying pretty strong.
I was never fortunate enough to be a 4-H'er, but I did teach a segment on electric motors, I think, once, very many years ago.
Yeah, and Carlene was going to present last month, and she had some data. I don't know the stuff that we sent for last month. Did that get added anywhere after the meeting got canceled? But anyways, they did a 4-H Discovery Day, and I think she said that there was like 150 kids, and 50% were not 4-Hers that came to learn about what the 4-H program and different projects that we had. So there's definitely interest out there, and they're trying to reach as many youth as we can.
And one of the neat things, my kids were both through it. Jennifer's kids too, at the same time. I went through it too, million years ago. But the junior leaders, I think, it's been a really good group about getting my kids have both benefited from that part of it. It's separate from an actual club. It's all the 4-Hers that have 6th grade or older, and they get together and they start doing some leadership things, like he was saying, you know. So I think it builds them to be the next, go out in the community.
My children through that program have also taken trips outside the area, like to Washington DC or to Atlanta, Georgia. UW Extension and the 4-H programs in general are what I consider leadership building.
Yep.
And community building. So even now, my adult children have skills that their other peers don't have because of 4-H. Especially in agricultural sections, or being interested in nature, being interested in those types of things. So it's a program we've invested heavily in over the years. And this is my first year kind of out of it, which is, but then I joined the Fair Board, which I think is something that would be a really great promotion, so that children who are involved in 4-H have an opportunity to get in and out of the fair, be more involved as leadership opportunities arrive that way too. That's invaluable. It teaches critical thinking. I mean, the 4-H program teaches critical thinking, and it teaches you to be a good citizen. So I'm excited to have all 3 of my kids have enjoyed that program.
Thank you, Darren.
Yeah.
Karen?
For new committee members, there's a link to the UW's website at the county website under departments, see UW Extension, and then a little more depth to what Adam's already told us.
And another really valuable asset that UW Extension has in their knowledge of our area are if you need help with anything, and that kind of falls into the human development and relationships educator section. So like, let's say you need housing or something like that, or you're in a certain category where you need certain things. They have a link where you can find resources in our county and surrounding counties. And I just thought I'd mention that it's just not about agriculture and 4-H, it's also about helping people get where they need to go. So.
Yeah, to expand on that, it's the support from the county also lends yourself to all the support on the state resources, right? So that partnership leverages all the resources that come from UW-Madison and all the employees research and stuff that happens there. So it's really kind of a cool program when you're thinking about it that way.
Okay. Adam, thank you so much.
Yep, thank you guys.
Go on with 9E, real property lister reports and
She's not here, but we're only got a response from you yet. We need to do a land information council meeting. I don't know who our representative, county board representative was. Bob, Frank, any of you on the land information council? Do you remember who was? Let's go try to look that up. I just anyway, we're trying to set up a meeting to start looking at, we gotta write our 2027 grant and then come up with some other things. So I don't remember who is. And Information Council. It's Kevin. So I'll be in contact with you with the dates to set up a meeting or talk about our next council meeting about what we need to apply for grants, where we're at fiscally. We should have those kind of reports and where we are in our current projects. So I'll contact you with some potential dates.
okay, on to item number 10. We hashed this out already.
Yep.
We just bypass number 10.
The table number 10.
We need to do the motion to table.
Yep.
Now.
Now I'll motion that we table it.
Second.
I have a motion from Supervisor Carroll and a second from Supervisor Perry to table this for future discussion. Item number 11, just need to vote. All those in favor say aye.
I do have a question, is in the minutes, when that other document was approved, when was that? So
I was, that's what I was trying to look, and then my computer died. I think it was, went through this committee, and it looks like it's the one that I have, unfortunately. It went through in January last year,
March of 2025 is when it was approved.
for county board. Yeah,
that way I don't have to have somebody send something that we already have here.
yeah. If you,
We revote.
It was just discussion.
yeah,
Question.
All those in favor of tabling for a later date, say aye.
Aye.
Nay, been passed.
Thank you.
Discussion, number 11, discussion and possible action on the farmland preservation plan goals.
I'll have Natalie.
I'm Natalie Straight. I am regional planner with Southwestern Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission. I met a number of you before the last time I was at this commission meeting, just sort of introducing this plan. Since then, I've made some progress. I've met with the Towns Association. We've been working on getting the draft plan pulled together, as well as the farmland preservation mapping component of this. So that was recently shared with the towns, and they are now in the process of reviewing those maps and providing feedback. So I'm here in front of you all today specifically to get some feedback on the draft goals, policies, and actions that were created for this plan. The Natural Resources Office has had a chance to review those, as well as the Richland Resilience Group. We're just looking, or I'm looking for feedback on those goals. I just wanted to give a brief update on where the plan was at. So let's see, I'm zoomed in a little bit too much. So just as a reminder to, or either as a refresher or haven't been to previous meetings, wanted to just quickly review the farmland preservation plan is revised every 10 years. Richland County's farmland preservation plan is going to be due end of December of this year. And then we'll have the county officially approve it early in 2027, but the DATCAP will have their review done. We'll send it to DATCAP and have their review completed by the end of this year to stay within compliance. And this plan establishes a local vision for ag preservation, development, and enterprises for the county, helps to protect farmland for the future, and is an enabling document for the other farmland preservation programs. So agriculture enterprise areas, farmland preservation zoning, and tax credits. But it is not on its own imposing the zoning restriction, even though it does, but it does kind of make recommendations to zoning. Any updates to zoning will be done by Kathy and the Natural Resources Office after this plan is completed. And it sort of sets up that eligibility for farmers to get tax credits, but doesn't create the tax eligibility on its own. So this is just what you all had in your packets for the most part. Just wanted to start out with kind of what you're looking at. So there are goals, which are broad statements that is the general purpose. Under each goal is a number of policies, and these are more specific guideline statements to direct future decision making. And then actions are sort of think of them as like tick boxes for staff and others that are going to be making progress on implementing this plan in the years to come. So I and other folks developed these goals, policies, and actions, starting with the 2016 Farmland Preservation Plan for Richland County. And then, those goals and policies, I restructured them a little bit to fit in with this framework and to match more recent farmland preservation plans from surrounding counties. And then also added a few sort of best practice type goal and policy statements that were related or within other counties' recently adopted plans, just to make sure that it really encompasses the whole spectrum of issues and opportunities related to farmland preservation, and that it is in line with the requirements and expectations that DATCAP has for these plans. So I just want to, I'll go over the main goal. You all have these in your packet, so I don't want to.
Look like this.
Yes, yeah, I don't want to, I'm not going to read off every one, but I would welcome any questions or comments, edits, kind of on each section as I go through. That's appropriate. So goal number 1 was preserve farmland, the family farm, and rural character. So all the policies listed under here kind of relate to that. Again, many of these were part of the previous plan. Staff reviewed the policies from that plan and added commentary as well. So some of these have some of those edits and comments, and helps us ensure that they're addressing things that are relevant to the county at this moment, and then taking out anything that is sort of irrelevant or that has already, been accomplished by the county. Any comments or questions on this goal 1 and the policies within it? Goal 2 was maintain separation between urban and rural land uses to avoid conflicts. So the policies under this are, just related to the strategies that help to negate those types of conflicts, citing things in a manner that, farmland uses aren't, or residential uses aren't competing farmland uses, and vice versa, just to kind of reduce potential for issues and conflicts down the road. Any comments, questions, edits for any of these? Goal 3 is to preserve and improve infrastructure elements that are directly and indirectly essential to agriculture to maintain a viable farming environment. So one of the big kind of features of the plan is to identify the importance and value of agriculture in the county, but also all the different sort of components of the other county systems outside of agriculture that contribute to agriculture being functional. So this goal really speaks to sort of all those different components, processing facilities, other kind of related development, energy that farms need to function, broadband, the kind of increased reliance on that. Is there a question? Yeah.
I do. We have, maybe this is the wrong time, but I'm looking at these preservation goals, and we have a couple of things that are coming up, and I need to maybe address this, but we have these KB 765 plans that are coming through that want to enter and go through our county. Is any of that being addressed in any of these preservation goals?
Not directly. I think that's, when we talk about the conflicts and that sort of, yeah. And so that, right. But what I'm saying with that is, this is not saying, not writing the rules for that. It's just saying we need to look at those things. And then if we needed to go through those processes.
Well, I guess I'm kind of on this. I'd like to see language that affirms that we value our farmlands and our farm structures and our farm. You know, if our way of life is to make sure our cows are happy and our land is not eroding into the rivers and our groundwater is good, just to make sure that it's not just preserving it, it's maintaining, you know, not just maintaining and preserving, but.
Well, those are, I mean, we got, you know, the goals.
I mean, this is a different time than it was even in 2016.
Right, no, but what I'm, yeah, and we're talking about, goal 1 is preserve farmland and family farms and rural character.
Yes.
And then it's got different things to look at underneath there, and then maintaining separation between urban and rural land to avoid conflicts. And preserve the infrastructure, continue the farming. I mean, that's.
Correct.
And then there's a couple ones down here that talks about some of those things you're talking about as far as, we can't specifically say data centers or KV, whatever it is, the voltage thing. We can't put those in here. That's not the purpose of this plan.
Right.
But we put in things, purpose of putting things in here is to say, okay, as a whole, then over the next 10 years, you know, that is part of the goals is preserving, and how we do that is some of the stuff you're talking about.
Okay.
And I think that goal 5 and I think it's goal 6
Right.
are more in that, like, protect in terms of water and soils and the value of those.
Yes. Okay.
Any other questions on that goal number 3? Question, comments, edits? Goal 4 was encourage a variety of agricultural types and services based upon their viability and proximity to necessary infrastructure. So this one's really getting at that, like, innovation and variety, you know, connecting with UW Extension and encouraging differentiation in the types of agriculture and services, everything that is provided in the county, so that it's there's diverse offerings that kind of help to make sure agriculture is resilient. If things change in one industry, you know, agriculture overall in the county is kind of strong and resilient to that. Questions, comments, edits, this? Yes.
I'm also a really big proponent of agricultural tourism, and it would be something, if you're looking at language, to put in there to make sure that, you know, we don't just value our agriculture. It's kind of part of our what we offer. I mean, that's the beauty of Richland County. It's what we can show people. Part of our economic viability is our agriculture.
Yeah, and that's certainly something that could be part of the narrative. Is there a policy or an addition that you like to see here?
I just thought, you know, as you're working up this plan, how important that is to our economic viability is agriculture.
Goal number 5 is protect highly erodible soils. And then the policies here are kind of based in strategies to do that, so promoting conservation, like the work the Natural Resources Office are you doing, seeking funding to decrease those practices and supporting education. So really, you know, tying together all the different components of the folks in this room and the work that they're doing. Goal number 6 is protect sensitive water with other environmentally significant areas. So this again folds in different farming practices that can impact that, as well as preserving certain corridors and certain areas from agricultural uses or any other uses to help to protect those waterways and habitat areas. Any comments, questions, edits, additions? I think I suggest max 5, so on there 5 or 6. And then action steps, I again won't go through these line by line, but the same as with goals and policies, staff went through the 2016 action steps, and we separated some of those out. There's just some tweaking to the structure of things, but a lot of the meat of what was there has stayed, and then staff added some thoughts on. And I'm sorry, the numbers here are very wonky. I don't know what happened. But on sort of related to where things are at now, kind of what hopes are for the next 10 years of work in this area. So this will be laid out in the plan, really as a grid of who's responsible, what is the timeline for this, how do we move it forward as sort of an ongoing tool to be used both by staff and others that are connected in with implementing the plan to try to encourage that to kind of keep moving forward as time goes on. So, and there. And this also includes some specific zoning action steps and overall kind of reminders to review and track. Any questions, comments, additions, edits, any of the action steps? Yeah.
Two things. For these action steps, I wonder if we could cross-reference them to which goals they're addressing, so it's a little easier to see what aligns with what. And then at some point in the process, it'd be nice if we could make these action steps what they call SMART, specific, measurable, realistic, all that stuff. In other words, we say, for example, continue education, communication with county officials. Well, say how many meetings you think you have to have, or how are you going to measure whether you've accomplished that or not? Those are the kinds of things I like to see when we have an actual plan to get stuff done. So something, I don't know where in the process we would do that, but I just don't want it to be another report that gets put on the shelf.
Yeah, and I think that's something that as this gets kind of finalized and built into the plan, and work with the resilience group and staff to kind of figure out what the most useful format is for that. And you know, it might be that there's a simplified version of that in the plan, and then a separate document that is more kind of editable and changeable by staff and others to sort of work from.
Sort of like I bet it's sort of kind of like where a land and water plan, we have the plan and then you have the work plan. And every year you look at the work plan and see what, you know, that takes everything that's in the plan, says, okay, these are the measurable things. These are what we're going to do.
At some point, it'd be nice to put some measurable things to show how it helps you identify what you got to do next.
Yeah, and some of these are going to be like accomplishable, like, yes, this group will do, you know, X thing. And
It's that endorphin rush when you check something off, right?
right, yeah, we'll make sure that there's a spot for a little check mark. That's important.
Well, and it's nice to know where you're starting at too. So like, I was looking at the goal of introducing more young people to farming. Do we even have a number of where that is at? How many younger people are already in farming, and how are we going to encourage that from that number to more of a number so that we can get people to have an action plan to retire that are already currently farming? You know, I mean, because it's nice to say, oh yeah, we'll get young people involved and then we'll have people retire from farming and, you know, we have a solid plan, but how many young people do we already have involved in farming? And how are we going to encourage and get more people involved in that? And then how are we going to, you know, have succession plans set up to keep agriculture sustainable? I mean, it's great to have action steps. We have to know where we're starting from too. So I don't know where that data is getting pulled from, but I would encourage you to start looking at where we get the data.
Yep, and then, yeah, there will be a good amount of sort of, got some of that sort of here, but specifically talking about age, we've got the most recent agricultural census that we have data for is the 2022 ag census, and we'll be using that to kind of be a base of data for this plan. But I think with Steve's idea of kind of having more of those specific measurements, those are some things that can kind of be referenced as, like, you know, as the age of operator. So currently, the average age of operators, farm operators in Richland County is just below 60 years old. So We know that is higher than, it has increased pretty significantly in the last 6 years, and also is significantly higher than the average age overall in the county. So, you know, there are measures like that that we kind of look at over time and see kind of how they're interacting with each other and kind of how they're being impacted potentially. I mean, it's with some things, it's a little bit difficult to see, okay, what is the specific impact of, you know, this movement towards this goal? But there are some trends that we can look at kind of longer term over time. And see what direction things are headed. Yeah, any other questions, comments? Yes.
It's not a question. For new committee members, there is a current existing farmland preservation plan. Right now, the county website still needs some work, but someone's been putting a lot of our documents in the administration. Have you been doing that, Kathy?
Yeah, because I can't.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're trying to do that so that.
If you go to your iPads under admin documents, there is a folder there for natural resources. You look in there and there's a lot of these fundamental documents. One of them is farmland preservation plan. Give you an idea of what's currently there, what Natalie is, and the approach now is going to be a little different, but in general, it gives you all the different things that need to be considered.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned this in the last meeting, but so obviously leaning heavily on the 2016 plan to, this is an update, but also looking towards more recent plans completed that have been approved and sort of are, we got a stat cap about kind of what were some recent plans that were good standards to follow. And so I've been referencing those as well. So if you look at more recent farmland preservation plans, like Richland County, for example, is one that I've been referencing a lot. You can expect the structure of this update to look a little bit more like those example plans, while still retaining a lot of the content and kind of value from, and you know, long-term knowledge that's contained in the 2016 plan. Thank you. Anything else? Just a few quick trends. Has been sort of the stuff that I've been working in. You know, the plan is intended to really set up the value of farming and agriculture in the county. We see some, I mean, this is not to paint like some kind of dire dramatic picture, but it's certainly things to be aware of and it reminds us of the value of protecting farmland. There's been a 16% reduction in acres of land in farms since 1987, which is kind of just a little bit arbitrarily chosen, but looking back at the sort of last several agriculture censuses, and an 18% reduction in acres of cropland in the county since that time. So you'll see, you know, this isn't a constant down, this isn't like extremely dramatic, but it's the overall trend. And so programs like farmland preservation help to speaking of like looking at these longer trends and how things are impacted, I imagine at least part of this sort of the upward trend here is the encouragement of programs that encourage farm preservation. And we're seeing same kind of trends also in woodland acres, although Richland County is just pulling together the numbers, has 40% of the county is in woodland. So it's a reduction, but Richland County also already has a lot of woodland, so it's not incredibly dramatic, but then there's an 86% decline, 68% decline associated with a 52% decline in farms reporting woodland ministry lands. So some of this is just to do, this is all self-reported by farmers, and some of it is going to be to do with just how farmers are using their land over time. So each of these on their own shouldn't be taking too directly, but they help to show this larger trend of there certainly is a decline overall in the county of land use in ag in the last several decades. But then we also see some kind of exciting developments, really high increase in farms with access to internet as fiber and other internet sources continue to expand in the region. And then Richland County really seems to have a happy medium for farm size. There are a lot of farms 43% of the farms that are between 50 to 179 acres, sort of that like middle scale agriculture. And then smaller amounts a small number of really small farms and a small number of really big, that over 1,000-acre farms. So really seems like the county has a nice balance, partly due to the hills and the difficulty of larger operations really working in this area. And just this is the current proposed draft farmland preservation map for the regions. This is what was shared with the towns, and they will be.
At the meeting, last town's meeting, she had maps for everybody, all the townships, and there were 4 that weren't there, and so I've since mailed them out to those 4 townships that weren't there.
And that's what I have for you all today. So any other questions, comments? Share the point.
Thank you for
Well,
your
thank you.
presentation.
Thank you. Thank you all for your time.
We're on to item number 12. Discussion and possible action updating the zoning ordinance.
I think that one we'll probably just do like the other one. We'll be putting it on hold for quite a while. So probably at least until after this plan is done.
Okay.
One of the things that was brought up at the last, we talked about was the junk salvage, and I contacted some counties, went to and got some language and I found some good language, and I took some that came from Rockbridge Township and their zoning ordinance, and then what we had plus what was done from, I don't remember which county it was, had a really good clarification. My concern was, junk machinery sitting around. Well, that's fine, but we want to make sure that it's not a farm operation that doesn't have storage and they have their farm machinery sitting out part of the year. That's not what we want to do. It's people that have it sitting out there 365 days, 5 years in a row. Okay, they're not using it, it's not moving, then that, so that was one of the things that was brought up at the last meeting. But I think we're just going to kind of put that on hold because we have to see what our plan, once the plan's approved, then we can really go into the rewriting of it. And then I have to send it to the Department of Ag to have them approve what we've got in there before we can go any, approved by the county. So it'll be next year, probably. I don't want to put it out that long, but I don't want to revise it and then I want to spend the time revising it and then next year have to revise it again.
Questions or comments? Happy.
Any action needed today?
No, we'll just put it off.
Item number 13 is correspondence.
I have received none.
14 is future agenda items.
Up what we tabled.
Yeah. Just the items that we tabled already.
And the short term may be on next month, may not. We'll have to, I think we need to talk with some of those guys, short term rental owners.
Regarding that future agenda item, I don't know when you'll talk with our current court counsel, but consider it might make sense for them to be at the meeting also.
When we get to that point, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And last but not least, item 15, adjournment. Motion by Mr. McKee and second by Mr. Meyer. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye.
The next one probably will be clear, so we won't have 2 months of zoning. It's just.
Yeah.